Thanks for stopping by. Just a couple of quick things I'd like to say before we get into the video proper. Firstly, I greatly appreciate your viewership, and I know that your time is precious, and my service videos may be a little too detailed for the casual viewer, whilst I do also still receive technical questions about the specific model being serviced. So to that end, I've decided to make 2 edits of my service videos, a shorter overview for general interest and to serve as a handy reference for servicing your own unit, but also I'll continue to produce the longer, more detailed videos as a reference guide, along with belt sizes and any other model specific service related information. Please contact me via my Buy Me a Coffee page, where I can happily provide the link to the full videos. Secondly, I'm only a small channel, so please do remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates. The majority of my viewers aren't subscribed. Also, weirdly, my unboxing videos often seem to receive more views than the actual service and repairs. So do please use the bell to ensure that you're notified and don't miss out when I add more content to the channel. Thanks again. Enjoy the video. Hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at the JVC RC545 LB. Now, I've got a real penchant for the late 70s and early 80s JVC models. I just think they're well built, they look good, they feel nice. There's just something about them that I'm drawn to. And I've got to say, this particular one is a sorry state, but I reckon we can do something with it. So I thought I'd kind of just get it serviced and cleaned up and share that with you today. So I always say, when I'm looking at fixing up an old radio or a cassette player, it's always nice to have all the original knobs, switches, buttons and that kind of thing, because you can always do a much better job with it when it's finished. And this is no exception. I think it's been languishing somewhere. It looks grimy, it looks greasy. It's either got nicotine stains or grease and dirt, or maybe both. It's probably been sat in an old kitchen or something like that for many years, and someone's obviously enjoyed it. But unfortunately, it's seen better days, bless it. So today we're going to give it a service and a deep clean, see if we can get it back up and running for a new owner. So a quick précis of what we've got then. So we've got the Radio Cassette Recorder, a master volume control, we've got a left and right balance and a single tone control as well. Regular kind of features really on the tape deck, including the cue and review. You've got radio and tape master switch, 4-band radio and mono stereo switch. That's about it really. Yes, you've got your DIN integration and external speaker outs and stuff like that. So it's quite a versatile unit back in its day. But essentially it kind of sits somewhere on a, I don't know, up on a shelf or something like that and just be tuned into the radio all day, or maybe someone would run some tapes and that'd be pretty much what you'd use it for, that's all. There's a nice VU meter as well and battery meter built in, but you can't really see that at the moment because it's pretty grimy and greasy. So let's just talk you through it really quickly then. Okay, I think it's had some sort of battery leakage or something in the past. There's a horrible sort of spot on the battery cover and the terminals are a bit corroded as well. The whole thing is greasy, it's grimy, it's kind of yellowed. I don't know if that's nicotine stains or kitchen grease or perhaps a bit of both. And on the top there's a lovely little radio frequencies sticker that someone's cut out of the TV Times or something like that and stuck on there, or the Radio Times no doubt. So that's going to need peeling back and scraping off. The whole thing needs degreasing and cleaning, I think. The handle won't go down at the moment because the aerial won't quite go back into its regular place, and I've got to be honest, that aerial is so badly stuck, it's going to need some proper oomph to peel that out. It's kind of got sticky, it's golden, it's just, I don't know, it's got like a layer of grease and grime on it. Yeah, I think that from memory the volume part is really noisy. So let's give it a quick go. Let's just see what we've got and then we'll crack it open, see if we can service it. So I've just turned the lights off so we don't get any FM interference, and I'm gonna put the aerial up. Like I say, it's literally stuck. If I pull the aerial straight up, you'll see that it literally lifts the whole thing up. It's just so far stuck. But anyway, if I turn the volume to 0 and now put the radio on and just touch the volume pot, now I've tried giving that a bit of a wiggle in the past with it turned off and it hasn't cleaned up, so we might even need to, well, if we can get in there and give it a good clean we can, but we may even need to replace the pot on that one. So let's just see if we can get radio though. Right, okay. Yes, I've got radio. I could hear something in the background there, and the FM stereo light was on as well. So we got radio. So let's go to the cassette then. And the eject works nicely. That's good. And again, volume on 0 and play. All right. Yep, it's turning all right. Rewinding. And fast forwarding. Tell you what then, let's brave it. Let's put a tape in. This is genuinely the first time I've done this. Let's see. Okay, it's struggling. It's really struggling on rewind, but it's working. It's not fast forwarding at all. And play. Okay, well, it's sort of actually playing, but I imagine the belts will need doing on it, the main drive belt at least. It's going to need a darned good clean. It's absolutely filthy. So, okay then, plan for today, we'll crack it open, we'll service the mech, clean all the usual bits and pieces, oil it up where we need to, replace the belts, and clean the switches. If that doesn't work, we'll need to replace the volume part in particular. Hopefully we won't need to. Clean all the other switches up, as I say, and just degrease and clean and polish it all up. Degrease the aerial, see if we can get that loosened up, and hopefully by the end of the day we'll have something that's an awful lot better and ready for a new owner. So okay, let's get it cracked open and see what we've got. Rightio, so we can see we've got the aerial, the whole antenna board with a selector switch this side. Obviously here's your main amp board. The cassette is under there. So what I'm just going to do, I think, is get the amp board and the cassette mech out first. May or may not get the radio board out later, depending on how far we want to go with cleaning the front case and what have you. First thing though, get the knobs off, like so. I've also just noticed that the ferrite rod is loose as well. There we go. And getting the rest out was as easy as that, but quite often the radio board can just trap it. It gets very tight on these cables there, and you don't want to damage those, so sometimes for the sake of a few screws it's better just to get the radio board out. Anyway, that leaves us with two parts now. The very filthy case. Doesn't look too bad initial inspection. It's not corroded, looks pretty clean to be fair. Needs a clean, it's got ferrite on it, but we'll clean that up. The capstan also has got a layer of ferrite on there, so we'll clean all that up, but we'll get that out anyway, because what we'll do is we'll get the mech out and yeah, get the belts away as it were. So we'll do that next. As I say, clean and tidy, not too bad. Just needs a bit of a zhuzh, and we'll give it a bit of a lube and what have you as well. And the counterbelt isn't too bad to be honest, but if you want to replace it, we'll just peel that away. That's it, there we go. And like I say, not too bad. It hasn't degenerated, but obviously it's probably seen better days. A bit dry, a bit stretched, so we'll lose that one. It's a beauty. A big old belt, that one, to be fair. So you can see it's not in desperately bad condition, but it does need a decent clean, so we'll clean that up. We'll clean inside the running pulley as well, clean up all this old grease that's in the mech, and put some fresh lube in there as well. Pinch roller needs doing, but it's still quite soft, so I'm not going to replace it. And a quick switch clean as well. And we'll we'll do those pots while we're here as well. Right, let's get it back together then. So I've got a brand new belt here. So I've got a new canter belt as well. Marvellous. Next job then, we'll start putting it back together again. So quick sanity check then. Belts are in, everything's been cleaned up and pots are clean, switches are clean, everything's screwed back together. Motor's soldered back on, so I think we can move this unit to one side now and focus on getting the case ready. Also just getting this door out, look at the state of it. It might not be perfect, but it's much better than it was, that's for sure. Right, then here we go. Ooh. Somebody's thought it would be a good idea to use a scouring pad, like a kitchen sponge, to clean it over. And they've basically fogged up the entire front end. So although it's clean now, it's covered, absolutely covered in just scratches. Very, very fine scratches. So it will clean up really nicely. But I just need to polish out these scratches if I can. Just bring it up a little bit. I've just popped the door back in, and a tiny bit of grease now, just where the spring acts. Right then, here we go. So here's the tape in. This is genuinely the first time I've done anything with this. So play. Okay, well it's turning and the take-up reel's working okay. And fast forward. And rewind. Oh, hang on. Darn it. Idler issue maybe? Maybe it is a bit worn. Okay, well let's just play it first and see if we've sorted the volume issue out. Alright, so good news is we've sorted the volume out. That's great, that saved us a job. Everything else is working nicely, but annoyingly it looks like our rewind isn't working. So the issue is going to be that little idler tyre just on there. It's just a tiny bit marginal, I think. Yeah, it just needed a clean, I think. So I'm going to keep cleaning that a bit more. I might even just quickly crack it apart, see if I can get to it from the other side. Alright, well it's all stripped back apart. Mech's apart. Flywheel is out. Belts off. Various plates and screws are out. I've tried to get in and clean. I think there were 4. I've counted at least 4 idler tyres on here. But the offended one in particular is buried down in there, and I have given it a token clean. But what I'm going to do is get right in there and see if I can get this rubber renew back onto there, give it the best possible chance of biting, put it all back together again. Fingers crossed that'll work. Okay, so I'll put that together again, so hopefully that's made at least a little bit of difference. So let's just press play. Yep, well that's still working. And fast forward. Right, so we haven't made anything worse. What about rewind? Yeah, I think there's just like a little bit of a flat spot on the idler. It is rewinding, it's just really weak. And I think I've just found the problem with it as well. Is that those tapes had been snarled up and had got tight before. And I think that was the problem. So I've just found another tape. It was really a sanity check, just so I decided what to do for the best. And you can see that that's playing. And, whoops. And fast forwarding as before. But rewind now is absolutely fine. that's at the end of a 60. So let's just pull it off the, there we go. So it's not too bad. I've seen a lot worse. I might actually live with that, you know. One more tape. Yeah, it's not ideal, but that's pulling right from the back end of the tape, and it is still working. If I do it from a short end of the tape, some of these have all been chewed up as well, to be fair, but still, it is working. So I might just live with it, you know. Alright, well, we're at this stage, aren't we, with these old units. We've given it a proper good clean, we've given it a service, cleaned the heads, sorted all the running gear out pretty much. Yeah, shall we give it a go? Now, I've got, this is the unit that we're working on at the moment, of course. I actually have another one that was a build in progress, so what I'm thinking is maybe seeing if I can salvage the tyre off of this one. So let's hook this one up as well to some DC. I'm not suggesting we use this mech particularly, because it'll need a service and we'd have to do everything that we've just done all over again. However, what we could do with it is pinch the idler off it. So play, come on, please work. Yep, well, it's playing all right, look. And rewind. Yeah, see, that one works. It's kind of good news, because it means we can use the idler. It's kind of bad news because I've now got to strip down 2 entire mechanisms. So I'm going to spare you all of that, but basically what I'm going to have to do is just strip the living daylights out of this one, do the same again with the other one, just for the sake of one piece of rubber, rebuild the entire thing, plus rebuild this one so as I don't lose any of the other bits. And I'll see you in about a week's time, or the other side of a fade. Okay, so it's not quite put back together. I thought I'd share my world of pain with you, all this just to get one piece of rubber out, just and partly to prove I've done it really. But there's the old and the new, or replacement one at least. What's a real pig about these is there's a tiniest little split washer that holds these in, and they're seated quite deep, and one of them did make a bid for freedom, or at least tried to. I managed to find it, fortunately, but got the fun of putting them back on now. I am actually just going to very quickly put the very near on these, just to see what kind of tolerances we're looking at. So this is the replacement, which works. Can you see that? 14.4-ish. And this one I'm expecting to be marginally smaller. Going to be fair, not trying to cheat here, I promise. 14.26, 14.3. So it's literally 0.1, 0.15 millimeters. So yeah, there's nothing in it at all, but that is just enough. That's all the wear that it's taken to lose its bite. So it really is that, it was that marginal. It does kind of work, as we saw, but it's just not quite there. So hopefully this new one will be just the job. I am going to clean it up to give it its best possible chance though. And yeah, we'll get it all back together. Oh dear, long old day this, isn't it? Right, okay, so it's all back together, or at least one of them is for now. So does it work again? Okay, well it's playing, which is good. Let's have a look, fast forward. Yeah, that's working beautifully. Okay guys, this is genuinely the moment of truth. And here she goes. Yeah, she's rewinding beautifully now. Perfect. Okay guys, well, you can probably tell that's been a lot of work for what it is. Arguably I could or should have tested it earlier, but I wanted to get it all together and check the volume part and everything else. I kind of, you know what they say about assumption, but I kind of assumed that having given it a clean service, cleaned the tyres, and obviously replaced the belts and what have you, that it should be there or thereabouts. And to be fair, it was. And we could have left that idler tyre as it was, but I just couldn't kind of bring myself to go to all the effort that we've put in today and still have a problem with it when we put it back together. I know it's not the most perfect looking machine in the world, it's got a few scuffs and what have you, but I think at least once it is all put back together, it's going to be a proper machine. You know, it's all been cleaned, the switches will have been sorted, the belts are new, the case will have been sort of degreased and cleaned, and that's all we can do is do the best by the unit. So it was worth, you know, it's been a bit of a whatever ache, but yeah, worth it in the end. And we just need to get this rod antenna back into place without damaging the wires. There we go. Right, the next job is the battery contacts. Now you can see that the spring itself is pretty grotty. That needs proper cleaning up and possibly even replacing. I've also got another one which you can't probably see in there, which is pretty grim, and then there's one at the end as well, and you probably can't even see that, to be honest, but yeah, it's pretty grim. There you go, look. So yeah, what I've done is just use that donor unit we were looking at just now, and I've got the contacts out of those because they are considerably cleaner, and I've also cleaned up the spring from that one. So if I just do a quick check on the continuity, yeah, we're all right. And for the spring, yeah, that's going to be fine. So we can use those. So what I've got to do now is get the other ones out, and I've got to say they're quite tricky. And they've got like tabs, and obviously they're all soldered on, of course, but I mean they've got like properly bend tabs, inside outside tabs. They've got glue holding them in place, all sorts of things, so they're a bit of a nightmare. But anyway, I'm going to get them out now, and then we'll be ready to put the new ones back in. Okay, well that's the battery contacts all out. New ones, old ones. The old ones will clean up, to be fair, especially now that they're out, but given that we had to get them out anyway, may as well put the fresh ones in. So I'm just going to go ahead now, get those in, but first clear out all the detritus from the cover itself. Now I've got some D-cell batteries here. 8.6 volts. Given the old condition of the batteries, I'm going to take that. I reckon yeah, I'll sort out a bit later on. We'll get some decent batteries that we'll just check the voltage of them, and I'm quite convinced we're going to be able to run that unit after all from batteries, which there was no chance we were ever going to do before. So again, that's another win. And that's not even coming out yet. So I'm going to go and work on this, see if I can gently tease it out, give it a polish. Listen to it. It's just oil, not oil, that like thick grease, and it's all inside. All needs doing. So I'm going to clean that, polish it all up, and then we are very nearly there. Much nicer, and it is, you can probably hear that, if not see it, retracting. So I'm just going to again take that as a win. So it's been used as like a saw bench or something. It's proper. Listen to this. If you listen to me drag my nail, So I need to sand this out and see if we can just tidy it up a bit. And all I'm going to do with that is various grades of sandpaper. In fact, I've got some here from when I've got a bit here from when I was just doing the battery terminals earlier on. So I'm literally just going to go for it here. No point pussyfooting around. Just going to sand this fairly harshly. Cut through these scratches and then use a few different finer grades. I won't get all the marks out because they are quite deep, but as long as I can make it a bit better, that'd be quite nice. Much nicer. And it hasn't got to be spotless. I mean, we could literally cut this right through and bring it right back looking like new, but there's no point. Everything else has got a certain patina to it. So I think we're done. Right, all we got to do now then is, I think, get it back together, give it a final polish. Next time you see this, I'll have got my breath back, and hopefully we'll be putting it to bed and giving it a test. And it's time to breathe a sigh of relief. So here it is, the JVC RC545. Well, what started off as just needing a bit of a clean and a service has turned into a bit of a day, but it's always worth doing things the right way, I guess. So what did we do then? Well, okay, starting in no particular order, it was covered in grease and nicotine stains, so we've cleaned up all of the casing, polished the aerial and managed to now get that to extend, which is great. Also, someone had used a scouring pad on a tuner window, so we've T-cut that out and got some gloss back to that so we can see through it properly now as well. Cleaned the switches, we got all the amp board out, the radio board, got the mech out, replaced the belts, cleaned the capstan, the pinch roller, the heads, only to find out that one of the idler rubbers was marginal, so we ended up having to pinch that out of another unit and get that to work properly. So that now that it is, that's all fantastic. Also, the battery terminals were corroded, all three of them, and the actual battery compartment was pretty rusty and crusty, so we've cleaned all that out, replaced all of the battery contacts with one from a donor unit. And yeah, it's been a bit of a day. I'm sure there was more that we did already, but if you've been skipping through this video, it's been a fairly long day, so thanks very much indeed if you have watched all of it. If not, dip back in as and when, because there's a fair few bits going on with this one today. But yeah, okay, so what I'm just doing now is let you listen to the radio real quick.
You can be joining them. The game returns with Jamie and Amanda tomorrow morning on Heart's Breakfast.
What are you up to this week? Maybe you'll try that new exercise app.
There we go. Absolutely beautiful sound. I've got to say, it's really rich, but it's also very clear as well. Considering it's only got two speakers and no woofers, no tweeters or anything like that, it really does sound pretty good. Okie dokie then. So let's give the tape a bit of a whirl.
Shouting, woman a cry, shouting out a old band sound. Now we are go bury you.
Marvellous. Okie dokie, and we'll fast forward it as well. And you can see that's working, the counter's going round nicely. And the issue that we had with the tape deck, of course, was the rewind. So here we go. And that's super smooth, very, very quiet, very reliable. Because we oiled and cleaned the idlers and everything, so that's fantastic as well. Also, the volume, it's almost totally clean now. It was really crackly. In fact, it was totally inoperable when we got this today. And I did think we might even end up having to replace the pot. Fortunately, a decent clean and lubrication, and we fixed that as well. So there we go then. What I'll do is I'll just quickly whiz through that again with the microphone pointing towards the unit so you can hear it a bit better.
Games, one spin per player per day. Each prize carries individual T's and C's. Eligibility rules and T's and C's apply. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Are you ready to experience Fallout?
One of the things that, just to prove that we sorted the batteries out okay, is the demo I've just been giving you is actually from the batteries themselves. Just in there. And you can see it wasn't plugged in. And there we go. So it's ready for someone to enjoy, to take to the beach, take on a picnic, stick in the back seat of their car. So there it is, the JVC RC545. Thank you very much indeed for watching. I'll be back soon with more boomboxes, vintage games, Walkmans, that kind of thing. Do stay safe. Please check out some of my other videos. And if you have enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing if not already, hitting the like button, and of course maybe even considering stopping by my Buy Me a Coffee page or hitting the super thanks button. Always great if you can help out perhaps with the cost of belts, consumables, oils, cleaning wipes, lotions, potions, sandpapers, tin foil, miscellaneous parts, donor units, all sorts of stuff. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, as you can imagine, to create these videos. So if you are able to help me out in any way, shape or form, be massively appreciated. If not, thank you for watching anyway. You're always very welcome here. Do stay safe. I'll see you soon. All the best for now. Bye bye.